where we're talking about personal finance, setting goals, achieving goals, and taking personal responsibility for our finances by increasing our financial IQ, teaching our children, so we can break the cycle of generational poverty. New video today, guys. But before we get into the new video, definitely to hit the subscription button. On YouTube, it's MD Investor. On Instagram, it's MD Investor1. Let your friends, let your family know. On social media, let them know that we're talking about personal finances, talking about taking responsibility, so we can break the cycle of generational poverty. The new video today, guys, is dividends. They are king. Dividends, they are king. We know we're in an unprecedented time right now in terms of what's going on, medical-wise, health-wise, financial-wise, stock market-wise. People are getting cut, they're either being cut, they're either being furloughed. There's financial havoc going on. So I think this is a timely video. Dividends, they are king. Don't forget to like, subscribe, let your friends and family know. Dividends, they are king. A little play in words, because we know there's something called dividend kings, right? We've done videos about dividend aristocrats. These are companies that have increased their dividend for at least 25 years. Dividend aristocrats. And then there are companies, there are about 57 companies that are dividend aristocrats. They've increased their dividend consecutively for at least 25 years. Then they're what they call dividend kings, a little more select group. They've increased their dividends consecutively for at least 50 years. Instead of 57 companies on this list, there's only about 28. So when I say dividends, they are king, it's a little play on words. So we're going to get into the video. We've done videos before about the benefits of dividends, so we're not going to belay the point. There's basically three main benefits of dividends. One, they're passive. We know we love passive income, right? Your hours get cut, don't worry about it. Your money's coming in passively. They gradually increase year over year. Those are the companies we like to invest in, right? Companies that are strong, rock solid, that have been through it. They've been through the ups, they've been through the downs, they've been through the market highs, market lows, recession, depression. They've been through it, and through it all, they have withstood. Those are the companies you like to invest in. And those companies increase their dividends year over year. We talk about dividend aristocrats. They've done it for 25 years. Dividend kings, they've done it for 50 years. And we know that dividends are tax efficient. We've done videos on, are your dividends qualified? They're not taxed at your marginal tax rate like your regular income. They're taxed at the lower capital gains rate, 15, maybe 20%. So those are the benefits of dividends, right? But we've also said that dividends are not guaranteed, right? The managers of the company, right? They get together and they decide, well, can we give a dividend this year? Or how's the business going? And if they can't, they don't. So dividends are not guaranteed, right? We've seen that right now with the airline stocks. We've seen it with the cruise line industry. They have suspended their dividends. We've seen it with Boeing. They have suspended their dividends. So we know that dividends are not guaranteed, but history is a great predictor of the future, right? If somebody's a liar now, most likely, go figure it out, right? Okay, so we said dividends are king. I'm going to say there's a play on words about the dividend kings, some of the dividend kings. We're going to focus on one of them today, guys, Procter & Gamble. Ticker symbol PG, you see here. Procter & Gamble, a big company, mainly in the household goods space. Now look here. Through all the market turmoil that's going right now, right? People losing their job, hours being furloughed, some dividends are being suspended. Look at Procter & Gamble, a dividend king, was paying about 74.5 cents per quarter. They did this all through 2019. and they usually raise their dividends in April. And they went from 0.7459, so about 74.5 cents, and look, they raised it to 79 cents, an increase of 6.1%, right? You may say, what's the big deal? That's 5 cents. That's a 6.1% dividend increase in an environment where people are losing their jobs, business are furloughing their employees, and other companies are suspending their dividend. They're able to increase their dividend in this environment. They are one of the dividend kings. So they've been doing it for a long time. We're going to go through this article, guys, and this is just to show you the power of the dividend, especially when it's coming from a super strong company. Let's go to this article right here. Procter, and this article, I got this from Young Research Publishing. Thought it was pretty interesting. So I'm going to share this article with you guys. I said there are about 28 dividend kings. This article is saying Procter & Gamble stock, the only true dividend king, right? You can't have two kings of one era, right? There's only one king. So it says, kings is an unfortunate, let's go back to the top. Dividend kings like Procter & Gamble are companies that have increased their dividends for at least 50 consecutive years. We said that, right? Kings is an unfortunate label for a group of stocks. It's an unfortunate label because it says there can only be one true king. And if we were talking U.S. stocks with long records of annual dividend growth, Procter & Gamble is the only true dividend king. So in this article, they're basically going to support that they're the best of the group. Procter & Gamble has increased its dividend for 64 consecutive years. That's longer than a lot of us have been alive. 64 consecutive years, they have increased their dividend. It said that ties Procter & Gamble stock with American States Water, which I believe is an utility stock, for the record number of consecutive annual dividend increases. But they give the edge to Procter & Gamble because it said Procter & Gamble has paid dividends since 1891. Wow. 1891, they've paid dividends since 1891. Wow. So why does Procter & Gamble get the dividend king crown over American States Water? That for starters, Procter & Gamble is a much larger company, okay? But let's get into it, guys. Let's go to the overview. I just want you guys to look at this right here. Look at this. Look at this right here. Procter & Gamble had operations in some 70 countries worldwide and markets its product in more than 180 companies. They're worldwide, guys. It is the world's largest maker of consumer goods for home and health. Procter & Gamble breaks its business down into 5 segments. Fabric and home care, right? When you think about Tide, fabric and home care. Feminine and family health and family care, okay? Beauty, 19%, health, 12%, and grooming, 9%. So you see they're diversified among the different home and health, okay? So if the fabric and home care is not doing well, feminine and family care will pick it up. And therefore, if this is doing weak, the beauty and health, so you see they're diversified. Procter & Gamble's portfolio of consumer brands is unmatched in the industry, right? You see Tide, you know what that is, right? Because of the years of advertising and commercials, you know what Tide is. Just even the color of the thing, Bounty, you know what it does, okay? Charmin, everybody's talking about now, toilet paper. You know what? Don't squeeze the Charmin, right? Downy, fabric softener, Pampers for your baby. This is Dawn to wash your dishes. All these things. Gillette for the man, brother. You got to shave. So you see, that's what you call consumer brand recognition. You can't pay for that. Consumer brand recognition. They're ingrained in your conscience. That's Procter & Gamble. Okay? So you said, how in a time like this when everybody's staying home, nobody's going out, but it's what you call the consumer. They call it the consumer non-discretionary category, meaning you need these things whether the economy is up or whether the economy is down. So there's some products you need only when the economy is good, right? Think about a company like McDonald's. If the economy is good, your money's good, your hours are good, sure, you'll go buy your burgers and fries out at McDonald's. Things are good. But when your hours get cut, you say, you know, I'll make my hamburger at home. I'll make my fries at home. So McDonald's would be in the consumer discretionary, right? So, I mean, you have the discretion whether to spend money on that or not. Things are going good? Sure, I'll buy a burger. Things are not going good? No, we'll eat at home. So now that we are all being quarantined at home, right, to shelter in place, that doesn't affect a giant like Procter & Gamble in the space they're in. The economy is bad, right? We got the virus going around, so that means you're not going to wash your clothes? You still got to wash your clothes. You still not going to use the paper towel? You still not going to use the products that they have, the toilet tissue, and you still got to use the Pampers for your babies and wash your dishes with the Dawn and shave? No, none of it matters. Okay, so that's what you call consumer non-discretionary. They're giant in that space, and they're king. I mean, they've been doing it for 64 years, and they dominate their space, and that's why they can raise their dividend as people are being laid off, as people are being furloughed. You want to invest in a strong company such as this. So what I'm telling you that dividends are king, it's true, but you got to invest in the right thing. And you got to be diversified. Obviously, you can't have all your eggs in one basket, right? So you diversify. You have some money here in your consumer non-discretionary where you got to go to Procter & Gamble products, whether the economy is bad or good. They're going to get paid and my dividend won't get cut. Okay? Target, Walmart, also companies non-discretionary. Still going to go to Walmart. Still going to go to Target. Okay? Non-discretionary. So just to kind of give you guys a little example of what a dividend king and the power. Before, say 2 months ago, you say, what's the point? A dividend king, you can invest in whatever you want to. They're all going to give you money. Now you see, because we're in a bull market for 11 years, over a decade. Now you're in a bear market and you'll see that, yeah, things can go south and they can go south in a hurry. And you want to make sure you're invested in a strong company. Okay? Procter & Gamble wants to be the superior choice. Most firms in the consumer packaged goods industry have been impacted by the shifting industrial dynamics, but not all have identified a strategy to stay on top. Procter & Gamble believes it can maintain market leadership by truly creating value for consumers. Procter & Gamble wants to be the superior choice for consumers by offering superior products. Now money's tight, right? So you want to make sure you're not going to buy the cheap paper towel. You want to buy the Bounty, right? That can absorb and really get your money's worth, right? That includes having the best products, the best packaging, the best advertising, the best retail strategy, and the best consumer value. Procter & Gamble is an innovator, guys, right? You have the Tide soap detergent, and a couple of years ago they came up with the Tide Pod, where you put it in, it's like a little nugget. You put it in, and it gets dissolved and stuff. So they're innovator, guys. They do research. Let's look at the commercial here.
Tide is an incredibly iconic brand. It's been around for almost 75 years, almost as long as washing in machines has been a thing for consumers. Most of us visualize products as shelf. That's just what we picture is a shelf version of a package. And I think the world we're evolving to is one where people buy things online. We work with our partners, like Amazon, to develop a format that's uniquely suited for this new world.
We actually took a step back and we said, if we were going to start from scratch, how would we do it?
We looked at, could it be something that people pick up and pour? How does the spout need to interact? How do we actually get it into a cubed design so that it requires less space?
And so we set out to go from bottle to this box.
If we could switch everybody who buys that equivalent bottle to the EcoBox, we can save enough plastic to cover 5,000 football fields each year. It's a little bit more than 1,400 tons of plastic. It's 30% less water, but it delivers the same cleaning.
This has been designed specifically to ship in its own container, so we do quite a bit of rigorous testing.
We've been collaborating with Procter & Gamble for multiple years, and my hope is that it inspires not only other brand partners, but the entire industry to think differently about packaging and do it in a sustainable way.
The fact that it has less water, less plastic, that it needs less secondary packaging to ship it to a consumer, all these things help our customers, but also help the environment.
Guys, I never knew so much thought went into the packaging. You figure you go in the supermarket, you see the Procter & Gamble, and you say, okay, put it in the cart, and let's move on. Let's get out of here. People are innovating. They're thinking. They're researching. They're developing to see that how can we make this better for the consumers. That is a dividend king. I'm telling you guys. Okay, let's look at Procter & Gamble's dividend king record. That's 64 years, right? They go out here on the x-axis. They're out here from 1978, and it goes up to the present day. On the y-axis, I think this is the dividends per share, probably the annual dividend per share. And look at this, guys. This is what they call a hockey stick, right? Start out years ago, flat, horizontal, and then it's gradually going up, 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 and up. And you see all these little rectangle here. You see the higher, higher, higher. That's what you want, guys. You don't want to see a dividend cut. You don't want to see they're suspending their dividend. You don't want to see the dividend it's staying flat because of inflation. You got to be able to beat inflation. So that's what you want to see, a hockey stick. Okay, 8.9% dividend growth rate, guys. And from the rule of 72, you take 72 divided by, say, 9. That's going to be about 8. That means your dividends will probably double in about 8 years. That's what you want to see, guys. A strong company, a dividend king. Somebody, some company that you can invest in and not feel like you're throwing your money away. Let's go down here, guys, and let's look at Procter & Gamble dividend growth by decade. In the 80s, they said their dividend growth average was about 7.2%. In the 1990s, about 11.4%. In the 2000s, about 11%. And the 2010s, so about 5.6%. So the rate has slowed down. But you see, guys, this is a company that continues to grow and continue to increase the dividend. But just remember, guys, that the bigger a company gets, there's something called almost like the bigger you get, the harder it is to get bigger because you're so big already, right? It's easy to go from 2 to 4, but to go from 2 billion to 4 billion is more difficult. So you might see the growth rate is slowed a little, but that's because the company is getting so huge, okay? Okay, so it says here the slower dividend growth rate is a function of Procter & Gamble getting much larger and paying out much more cash in the form of dividend. You're explaining why the slowing of the dividend growth rate here. Procter & Gamble is the 11th largest company in the S&P 500 with a market value of $300 billion and annual revenues of almost $70 billion. Increasing sales from $10 billion to $20 billion is a much easier feat than increasing sales from $70 billion to $140 billion, right? You see? And that's what I was saying. Increasing sales from $10 billion to $20 billion, they both doubled, right? But it's a lot easier to go from $10 billion to $20 billion than to go from $70 to $140 billion, right? They are a huge, very big company. The higher payout is also a constraint on Procter & Gamble. In fiscal year 2004, Procter & Gamble paid out 34% of free cash flow in the form of dividends. In fiscal 2019, that payout ratio rose to 61%. But it said the 61% payout is still low enough to provide Procter & Gamble with room to continue increasing its dividend at a modest rate, even if the business has a challenging year or two, but high enough that it means dividend growth and earnings growth must move in lockstep most years. So guys, just a quick video to continue to be motivated, to let you know we gotta choose our investment wisely. Dividend Kings, Dividend Aristocrats guide, they have I know it says past performance is no indication of future. That is true. No one can read the future, but you have a 50-year, a 64-year track record of increasing dividend. That's a pretty solid record you want to rely on. Okay, so guys, just to continue to be motivated, continue to invest, continue to command your money to grow, and we're going to be continually motivated during this crisis. So we'll come out stronger on the other side, guys. So we're going to continue to take responsibility for our financial life, and we are going to increase your financial intelligence and teach our children so we can break the cycle of generational poverty. And I will see you on the next one.